video, and I'm here to break down Xiangli Yao's kit because, as you know, Wuthering Waves, what they like to do is make the kits as long as the Declaration of Independence. I'm moving to Canada, so I never read it. Okay, here's the deal. Xiangli Yao is CALCHARO and better. I will show you what I mean by that when we actually get to the trial, but he's legitimately CALCHARO but better. The basis of his kit is pretty much, obviously he has his normal basic attacks. He is going to be an attack scaling character, again, because there's nothing else here. So he's attack scaling. You will get crit damage increased with the little nodes, and obviously get attack there. So his normal attacks are nothing crazy. You do basic attacks, etc., etc. I'm actually going to move myself over here real quick. And so, resonance skill. This is the simplest resonance skill of all time, but it's actually not. So his normal resonance skill just attacks the target, dealing electro damage. It does a pretty decent amount of damage, but the deduction resonance skill is not really where you're going to get a bulk of his damage, clearly, right? Let's go to the Forte circuit. This is where it becomes a Declaration of Independence, but it's really not that complicated. So capacity is his Forte circuit. It's before he does his resonance liberation, right? So in his normal fighting stance, when capacity reaches 100, resonance skill deduction is replaced with resonance skill decipher. Consume 100 capacity, your full Forte, when you do his skill, to cast resonance skill decipher, dealing electro damage considered resonance liberation damage. Once we get to echoes, we'll go more in depth, but obviously resonance liberation is a big part of this homie's kit. Resonance skill law of range. This is after when you cast his ult, you get up to 5 performance capacity. So as opposed to getting 100 capacity, you now have 5 performance capacity. When you have 5 performance capacity, his resonance skill is replaced with law of range. Consume 5 performance capacity to cast resonance skill law of range, dealing electro damage considered as resonance liberation damage. Mid-air attack shortly decreases shortly after casting Resonance Skill Decipher or Resonance Skill Divergence. Use basic attack. It's considered Resonance Liberation damage, pretty much. Capacity is telling you that it's up to 100. Every normal attack, every Resonance Skill will gain that. Now, the thing is, with his performance capacity, the max is you can hold is 5, but you have ways to earn more than 1 performance capacity. So normal attacks are just going to get you in 1 performance capacity in stage 1. You could obtain 2 performance capacity when stage 2 or stage 3 basic attack hits a target, or obtain 2 performance capacity for every resonance skill on hit, or you could obtain 3 performance capacity for every mid-air attack revamp. I'll show you. It's really not that complicated. It's very streamlined. I'm not going to lie to you. This is actually one of the easier kits. The multipliers on this are absolutely bootyful, and the resonance liberation, by the way, also very nice as well. Pretty much the resonance liberation is similar to CALCHARO's. You have to fill up that performance capacity, and you get 3 massive DPS chunks with your resonance skill when you have max performance. But the thing with CALCHARO is CALCHARO will get interrupted. He has to constantly hit, and you have no time. With Xiangli Yao, you have tons of time to get max performance capacity, so you don't need to worry about it. But you're only able to do that enhanced skill 3 times. So it says obtain 3 hypercubes. Each time resonance skill law of range, which is the one that you get after you do your resonance liberation, cast, consume 1 hypercube intuition. Ends once all hypercubes are consumed. Basic attack and heavy attacks are replaced with basic attack, pivot, impale. I'm reading that as basic attack damage is important in his normal kit. That sidebar. Let me know if I'm wrong. Excuse me, but that's how I'm reading that. Which performs up to 3 consecutive attacks, dealing electro damage. Resonance skill deduction is replaced with resonance skill divergence, which deals electro damage, and dodge counter is replaced with dodge counter unfathom, considered as resonance liberation damage. Very simple stuff. Interest skills, nothing crazy. Attack, target, whatever. The Fortes are pretty solid. Gain 5% electro damage bonus after casting resonance skill for 8 seconds, stackable up to 4 times. Electro character doing electro damage, maxing up to, 4 times of that stack is valid. And then the other Forte is when intuition is triggered by resonance liberation, Xiangli Yao's resistance to interruptions enhanced. He is going to not need a Xiangli shield, pretty much. He's going to be able to just fight and beat some ass, you know what I'm saying? And so that's pretty valid. And his outro is will call down a laser beam upon the first attack, incoming Resonator's basic attack, dealing 237.63% of Xiangli Yao's attack to an area. This effect lasts for 8 seconds. I will show you physically in the trial, but it's simple. I'm not going to lie to you. It's more of the streamlined kits, and I'm very happy that this is a free character, truly, because this is a very good unit. So if I do the resonance skill right now without my full capacity up, right, it gives you about half, right? It gives you about half. Now I'm going to get my resonance skill up. Now, as you can see, there's a little drill there, and the icon changes, and we do this. Now, that is considered Resonance Liberation damage. The one previously was not Resonance Liberation damage, so this is Resonance Skill damage. This is Resonance Liberation damage, okay? So, now, you want to then get his ultimate. We're going to do that again. Bam. Because that's where his, the bulk of his damage comes from. By the way, he's just really fun. Like, his animations are clean as hell. Like, look at this. Like, that's crazy. Like, this is crazy. I was just sidebar, but alright, whatever. So I'm going to cast my burst. Once we cast our burst, as you can see, I had a max forte there, but now I don't. And max already. 1. So that was my first one. 2. 3. I got 3 off and immediately ended, and I went back and my forte circuit was still there, fully casted. And I was able to get it off even while I was being hit. That is so massive and so game-changing for this homie. Because, again, CALCHARO's main weakness was the fact that he was unable... Excuse me. You pretty much had to have the perfect burst, and the enemy had to not move. You couldn't get attacked. They had to stand still, and it was pretty much impossible to get 3 full cast off with CALCHARO. I think this character was genuinely made to perfectly synergize with Yinlin and genuinely just power creep CALCHARO. So, again, I'm going to show real quick, because that was pretty quick. Again, resonant skill damage here. You do your combos, etc. Then I had a resonant skill on cooldown, but once I hit my forte, it's no longer on cooldown. Bam, resonant separation damage. And then obviously you can do that as the follow-up, right? So we're going to do this again. Bam. And then you can follow up. Boom. Boom. Goofy. And then I could show his intro as well. We should probably do that. Let's fuck him up with Yang Yang. Sidebar, this is actually going to be my team on my challenge account. And that's his intro right there. And then the actual burst does damage off rip. And then so we have to get more stacks here. 1, 2. Can I get enough before? Oh, okay, the trial expired. But you get the point. Very simple kit. Basic attack until you get the actual forte up / do your skill. Once you have that, then you have your max forte skill. You get your burst. You pretty much just go ham. And that is Xiangli Yao's kit. Team compositions. Excuse me. His best in slot is going to be Yinlin. The reason why Yinlin is going to do so great on him because Yinlin is not only going to give him electro damage bonus, but Yinlin is also going to provide him with resonance liberation damage bonus, which is obviously massive. Now, also, I think Johnson would be probably the best in slot support, if I'm not mistaken. I think Johnson's outro gives resonance lib, no? Yes. Their incoming resonator has a resonance liberation damage amplified by 38% for 14 seconds. So this is great. So a Yinlin, Johnson, Xiangli Yao team is actually going to be very, very solid. Obviously, you could run other characters like Sanhua with... I read that as normal attacks are important. I read that as his normal attacks, heavy and stuff are considered normal attacks. If that's the case, you can run that with Sanhua. You know, you could run Yanwu and Yinlin. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but if you wanted to have the coordinated attacks or whatever, you know, honestly, you could really put him anywhere and he will work. But Johnson, Yinlin seems like that will be the best team for him. Verena would obviously be good, or / Baiji, but you get the resonance separation damage bonus from this, so that's what I'm really looking at. In terms of weapons, I'm going to be very transparent with you. A lot of the weapon gauntlets are pretty dog. I don't even know if there's a gauntlet character on this account. So, yeah, if you have the Battle Pass one, dope. If not, the standard wish one is not horrendous. It's not a bad choice, but the Battle Pass is obviously going to be better because you get crit rate, although this is still pretty good, but this is really just energy regen and resonance skill. So it's kind of whatever. This does help with basic attacks, but, you know, resonance skill damage, he's not really scaling with resonance skill, so it's kind of whatever. So the weapons are kind of slim to none, unfortunately, so I feel like since he is free, I do believe people should be going for his weapon. His weapon is pretty solid. If I actually go over here real quick, I will show you. That weapon banner is kind of yikes, though. Yeah, banner is kind of yikes. So The weapon here is gain 12 crit rate, gain 12% attribute damage. When using Resin Liberation, the wielder gains 48% Resin Liberation damage bonus for 8 seconds. This effect can extend by 5 seconds each time the Resin skill is cast up to 3 times. This is clearly his best in slot. You don't need me to spell that out for you. This is going to be the best thing you can run on him. So yeah, that's what I would personally go for. I do believe that if you wanted to save your pulls for Shorekeeper, because Shorekeeper is going to be amazing, and like, you know what, I'd rather just spend like 15 bucks and get the Battle Pass. I think that's valid as well. Echo-wise, really, whatever you have on CALCHARO, throw on him. You know, you want the electric set, right? Some people like to use non-intrusive 3-cost. I believe there is a 3-cost Electro that can actually parry. I've seen people use that with Yinlin and CALCHARO before, so that is an option if you wanted. But Resin Liberation, you know, crit rate, crit damage, attack is not bad because they're scaling with attack. Basic attack seems to be the wave as well. From, again, my interpretation of the kit, let me know if I'm reading that wrong, but it literally says basic attack damage, but I'm a silly, goofy goober. But his echoes aren't really anything too crazy. If you have CALCHARO and you have a pretty good, decent CALCHARO build or pretty decent Yunlin build, you pretty much have it. Electro set, call it a day. You would probably want Electro damage bonus as the first one, and then the other one would be attack percent, is my assumption. You could go for ER if you want to get the burst up a lot and if you're having some energy issues. But, like, low-key, I'm not going to lie to you, on my free-to-play account, I'm going to run around with Yang Yang, so, you know, I don't need the ER, baby. But, yeah, that's Xiangli Yao, man. Overall, a very solid unit. I'm happy. I'm happy with him. I ain't going to lie to you. I think he's very good, and I'm excited for him to drop on all the servers. I'm excited to continue my free-to-play challenge account. That video will be linked towards the end of this video. And that being said, let me know what you think, and I love you. Mwah. I'll see you in the next one.